And welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. We have one day to go now until El Clasico strikes on Saturday, and today we are going to be looking at all the key areas of the game, and in particular 5 key battles, 5 really key matchups in the game that are going to decide where the result goes and how exactly the game is going to be shaped. That's what we're going to be looking at today. Apologies in advance, guys, for any background noise that you might be experiencing. Obviously yesterday I did a video. I'm on holiday right now. There is a bit of background noise in the hotel, obviously. Unfortunately, I wanted silence during the videos, but the hotel just didn't do it. I don't know why, but look, guys, we're going to be getting on with the video today, building up to El Clasico. We're all very excited, and most importantly, we're confident. And the first thing I want to say before I get into these 5 key battles is that I haven't included Lionel Messi in any of these, and that's simply because I just don't think any one player in the world could stop him. A lot of managers over the years, especially in Clásicos, have sort of set up their team and put their lineup out simply to stop Lionel Messi, but whilst that has happened, very little has it actually been effective, and a lot of those times it's not just one player that's going to be stopping Messi or trying to stop Messi, it's going to be 3 or 4. Literally, they're going to be putting 3 or 4 men all around him to try and crowd him out. So that's the reason that Messi isn't included here. In my opinion, one player cannot stop the little man, and he's not on the list. So we're going to start in goal with the 2 goalkeepers, Keylor Navas versus Marc-Andre ter Stegen. I think that is a very important battle between the 2 players. Obviously, they're not going head-to-head directly, but in each of their goals, they're going to have a big part to play. Keylor Navas this season, his future is uncertain at Real Madrid. They're always getting linked with David De Gea, with Courtois. Apparently, next summer, they're going to be bringing in a new goalkeeper, so obviously, his future right now is up in the air, and he has been very uncertain in recent weeks and months, really, in terms of his performances. Sometimes he's brilliant, sometimes he's not so good, and in Clásicos, he hasn't always been fantastic either. There was a few mistakes in the 4-0 at the Bernabeu, obviously, under Luis Enrique, that came from Keylor Navas, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plays at the Bernabeu tomorrow. And with ter Stegen, he's been unbelievable. He has been absolutely fantastic this season, and I just hope that he can continue that into the Clasico. He was absolutely magnificent last season when we came here. We won 3-2. Obviously, Messi was the star on that day, but ter Stegen made a lot of saves as well, and like I say, this season, he really has been impressive. Our defensive record is very good, and largely, it's down to the performances of ter Stegen. So, Navas versus ter Stegen, right now for sure for me, ter Stegen has the upper hand, and I would expect him to give us that edge in the Clasico and that real security at the back that we desperately need. The second key matchup for me all revolves around the fullbacks. Dani Carvajal versus Jordi Alba is one that I would certainly highlight. Left back for us, of course, right back against Real Madrid, and they will be going head-to-head directly. Both players like to get forward, both players like to advance into the opposition half, they like to get into the final third, and it's going to be really interesting of the 2, which is going to be the better in the final third. Who's going to make the most key passes, who's going to create the most chances, because this season for us, Jordi Alba down that left-hand side has been really impressive. He's been back to his very best. His combination play with Lionel Messi has been fantastic, and he's provided some really key assists, and even that key goal against Valencia came from him. Obviously, Dani Carvajal this season has been having a few problems with injuries. He's been a little bit more inconsistent because usually, even though he's not a character that I particularly like, he's a very good right back. He gets forward well, and he defends well, and it's going to be really interesting, left back against right back, which of those 2 players comes out on top. 2 very good fullbacks, 2 players that like to get forward, but you know in this kind of game, they're going to have to do well defensively as well. And obviously Jordi Alba in that department isn't always at the very top level. He's going to need help from the midfield, he's going to need to be on his game, but I fully trust in him to get the job done. And then on to the other side, I think Sergio Roberto up against Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be an absolutely colossal clash on that right hand side. Now obviously Cristiano Ronaldo started his career as a winger. As he's gone on, as he's got older, as he's lost that element of pace, that real burst of speed, he's trying to get himself inside more. But if they do start 4-3-3, Ronaldo certainly will be out on that left hand side, and it will be down to Sergio Roberto, who we all think will play at right back, to stop him. And I think that's a massive test for Sergio. Not only Ronaldo, but also Marcelo. Both on that side, both of them like to get forward. There's a lot of pace on that side as well. Marcelo will make those overlapping runs, and I think Sergio Roberto, just like Alba, will need help from that midfield. If he's got Rakitic in front of him, he needs him to be tracking back, and what we really want to avoid is 2-on-1 situations. We saw it against Valencia when Semedo was at right back. He wasn't getting any help from midfield, and he ended up with Gaia, with Guedes. They were getting 2-on-1, and that's where the goal came from. We want to avoid that with Ronaldo, and Sergio Roberto certainly will be trying to keep him wide as much as he possibly can. Don't let Ronaldo come inside. Don't let him have a shot on goal. Make sure you put him down the wing and make him put a cross in. Make him do that, push him out of his comfort zone, and make sure that you make him as uncomfortable as possible in this game. And the next matchup for me is going to be coming in midfield, and that's a really, really key part of the game. Yesterday we spoke about control, dictating the pace, and that all revolves around two players who have entered their 30s now, but on their day they're still capable of being match-winning midfielders. Luka Modric against Andres Iniesta. Modric at 32 years old, Iniesta at 33. They can't do it every week, they can't do it every single minute, but when these two are on their game, when they're in their moment, there is very little better out there in the entire football world. Two players in the midfield who can really dictate the game, they can create things, they can do things defensively as well, they've got great tactical awareness, and I think both of them tomorrow will have a massive impact on the game. Which of them can play the best? Iniesta against Deportivo, we saw him have an absolutely outstanding game. Everything he touched turned to gold, because when you think about Iniesta, a player of that quality, a player of that outstanding ability, and he always performs on the big occasion. When there's a big game, when the pressure is really on, when the stakes are high, you can guarantee that Iniesta will bring his A game to the table, and that is why I'm so confident going into this game with him running our midfield. He's that creative spark. We're going to be relying on him to create chances for Messi, to create chances for Suarez, and of course, he's always capable of popping up with a goal. He's not a prolific goal scorer, he's not somebody who's going to get you a load of goals, but in the big game, when the moment comes, he can often strike with a goal that you desperately need, and do not rule him out. He's got a stunner at the Bernabeu in the 4-0, he's scored in the past in Clásicos as well, he's scored massive goals in Champions Leagues, World Cups. This man performs when the stakes are really high, and I put all my trust in Iniesta. He can win this battle in midfield, he can give us that game in midfield, and he can give us that control. He is the man that we can count on, and it's Don Andres. And the final battle for me is by far the most intriguing one. It's Sergio Ramos at centre-back for Real Madrid against Luis Suarez at the centre of our attack. Going forward, he is going to be our striker, our number 9, the man that is responsible for putting away those chances and firing us to glory. And it's a really, really interesting matchup, because both of them, of course, are very, very fiery characters. Sergio Ramos has a temper, he's a bit of a loose cannon, and Suarez as well. You know the kind of edge that he has to his game. They'll win at all costs, they'll do whatever it takes to get their team the victory, and they will play dirty if they have to. And I think Ramos against Suarez is going to be so interesting, simply because in these kind of games, I mentioned it yesterday, at times Ramos can lose his head. He's going to be alongside Rafael Varane at the heart of their defence, and often in Clásicos he will get so wound up, he will be so determined to put him in a good performance, to put in a good display, to stand out, that he will try to do things that he doesn't need to do. When they're in a line, when you've got Marcelo, when you've got Varane, when you've got Carvajal, and you've got Ramos, and they're trying to keep a line, often Sergio Ramos will actually break that line, that defensive line. He will run out, he will charge out of defence trying to close down the ball, and the likes of Iniesta, Rakitic, Paulinho, they can find those spaces and they can exploit that, and they can play the ball into Suarez. And I think Suarez, you know his style of play, he's always on the very shoulder of the defence, and he will be waiting. If there's one small mistake from Ramos, if there's one moment that he switches off, that he charges out of defence, Suarez will be there, in behind, ready to pounce. And I think that's absolutely vital. And when he gets that chance, we spoke about it yesterday, he's got to convert it. He's got to be clinical in front of goal. He's got to make that chance pay, and he has to punish Sergio Ramos. And of course, going forward as well, we have to watch out for Ramos from set pieces. We've got to be marking him. I would put somebody like Piqué on Ramos, make sure that we're man marking him, marking the space around him, trying to block the run if we can. We have to be wary of what he can do going the other way, but defensively, he can definitely be exploited, and Luis Suarez is the man that can make that happen. So overall, guys, going into tomorrow's game, there are some absolutely massive matchups. There's some really key battles that are going to be going on all over the park. You know, in defence, we've got to keep things tight, we've got to keep things strong, but at the same time, we've got to try and push Real Madrid back. We can't just sit back and absorb the pressure. We want to be proactive in this game. We want to take the ball, we want to take the responsibility, and we want to go forward and try to hurt them. Messi and Suarez are going to be key. They're going to be our attacking players that are going to be designated with scoring the goals. And the likes of Iniesta and Paulinho in midfield, they're going to be the creative spark. They're going to be that more important link from midfield to attack in ensuring that Messi and Suarez get the service they need to fire us to victory. It is going to be an absolutely colossal game at the Bernabeu tomorrow. Like we've said all week, all the pressure is on Real Madrid. We've got to put that pressure on them, let them deal with that, and hit them as hard as we possibly can. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Who do you think are going to win these key battles? What other key battles would you highlight going into this game? I'm very interested to hear your opinions. I'll still be active on my community tab throughout the day. Any questions you guys have, just let me know. Anything you want to talk about, I'll be interested to hear it from you guys. I will see you soon for tomorrow's Clasico. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic event. I am looking forward to it. And of course, we can do this. I will see you shortly, guys. But until then, Vesca el Barça. Barça!